So, welcome to Call of Cthulhu Season 2. As you can see, we've added an extra person because, as you know, it is Call of Cthulhu, and everybody dies. So, we figured it'll be more fun after we get rid of 2 or 3 people, that we'll still have a few sessions where those survivors will continue. For those of you who are interested, this current session of game takes place in Cardiff, in Wales, in 1920. And we are going to go around and have people introduce their characters, and then we shall begin with that one. We can start with Amber, since she is just to my right, and we'll go anti-clockwise from there.
Perfect. I am Azel, and I can talk to my brethren of the dead in the 1920s. I also am a cook on a ship.
Glamorous. Can talk to the dead and make a mean omelet.
I can't leave.
That's what you need. You wonder where I get my finest recipes. Swipe right. Swipe right. You could say these recipes are. You could say these recipes are to die for.
Ooh. I can't wait until we get to the part of the evening where I can go, Azel, you have failed this omelet.
You are chopped.
Oh, you are chopped. That would be great. We'll be sued.
Oh my God.
Some gay chef guys can come up and says, that's it, cease and desist.
Yes.
We speak with the dead and are
A cook on a ship?
cook on a ship.
Yeah! I'm part of a secret spiritualist cult.
She's also deformed.
Oh, I am from... Oh, yeah, I also have a big scar on the right half of my face from the war.
Oh,
I was
that's why you're covering with
working...
your
back then, they took over Dumont, France, which is where I was, and they made you work in their factories to make shells for them. And a explosion went off.
I know this.
Where...
I had to research.
I gained the ability to speak with the dead from radiation.
That is where I came.
I was exposed to gamma radiation and now.
And then she became the Hulk.
Wait, did you get bit by a radioactive artillery
Dead
shell?
person.
Yes. And in the war, my whole family died, which is why I have such a great connection to the dead. The end.
I don't think you actually explained your deformity in that.
What? No, a big shell explosion went off in the factory, and half of my face is just like completely deformed and shriveled and like scarred up.
Do you
and
like-
my eyes
like
white? And,
Do you like cover up that side with hair?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, no.
That's why she's doing it.
Well, yeah. I'm just
figured.
yeah.
It's 1920. It's going to be a veil.
Oh.
Okay.
That was the style.
Do you have a-
Cover
do you have
half
a
the
also
face.
hair.
bandana? Okay.
Close.
Like Daedriel, just cover your face. Hope nobody
That's right,
notices
we'll-
all your snake features.
Oh.
Alright,
All right, Nick.
alright. My name is Arthur Gray. I grew up the son of a wealthy shipping company owner in Cardiff. But my parents treated their employees and the aristocrats in the city treat the lower class citizens very, very poorly. And so I decided to leave that life and live in the streets, and I'm a pickpocket. And I wear like tattered finery, very Artful Dodger style. I took fencing and violin lessons as a young child growing up, but I've honed the art of pickpocketing over time. And yeah, I make my own way. I help people where I can, but when I can't, I certainly don't. And when it comes to personal risk, not me. Yeah, that's me.
All right, Nick. Thank you. Sterling. We welcome Sterling. He's the game master for our Stars Without Numbers game, but today he is simply another victim.
Thank you, James. I'm playing Alexander Franklin. Oh, I should have been. Alexander Franklin Jones, the bastard son of Benjamin Franklin Jones Jr., a industrialist in the 1920s in Pittsburgh. The steel industry was quite roaring. Actually, coming right off of the roaring steel industry. The steel industry is kind of crap right now because the World War just ended, and everybody has too much steel. Anyway, I am in England because I'm looking for work. As a bastard son, I am not set to inherit. That is my older brother, who will get all of it. However, I have many skills that I've developed as a child in the factory. As a bastard, I did not live with my father. In fact, he basically sent me to work in the factory at a young age due to circumstances. However, I have many skills. I've proven my worth as a man in the factory, and I am a mechanic and a chemist of some worth.
If your brother were to be horribly murdered, would you inherit?
I'm not sure. You know, the inheritance laws right now are a lot of the time a bastard cannot inherit. However, my father has claimed me in public on several occasions, so there might be a lawyer I might be able to hire if I have the funds. Everything comes down to money.
Perfect. And a convenient murder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. The convenient murder, of course. Yes. Tragic. The steel industry has many tragic accidents almost daily.
Yes. Dan.
All right. I will be playing Chester Alesborn, who also has training as an industrialist. But Chester's life took a very different track. He was born to a lower class family, a working family, and his father died when he was very young. And he worked hard in the mills trying to earn enough money to get food and medicine for his sick mother and sister, but they both also died. Despite how he worked his knuckles to the bone and put in every ounce of his strength into trying to save them. And he sort of lost faith, and he was taken in by the senior technician at the mill where he worked, Dr. Prokovich, who was a exiled Bolshevik, and learned a little bit about communism, learned a little bit about the glorious revolution and the dictatorship of the proletariat, and then tried to start a strike and got drafted, and you know how it goes.
Glorious.
Yeah, glorious.
This isn't the infamous Dr. Prokovich who did horrible genetic experiments on people, is it?
I mean, it could be.
Okay.
I certainly don't know anything about that. He was more of an ardent communist than
Okay.
an ardent biologist.
Yeah, the Russians weren't really buying into the whole fair treatment of people, and they said, those Nazis really knew what they were talking about when it came to the whole human experiment.
They really will in 20 years.
Yes. All right, Peter.
I am playing as Gregory Lawrence, or Father Lawrence. He is a Catholic priest. As a child, he was regaled with many myths and dark stories by his Romani mother, and he grew up scared of the dark. But after World War I, seeing the atrocities of man, he became determined to find the demons and the devils that plagued him as a child, to find something more evil than man. And so for the past few years, he's been traveling with Thomas Cantwell, helping him perform exorcisms and find the demons. But so far, he has been unsuccessful in finding those demons.
Are you officially placed here in your formal capacity as a priest, or are you just here for research?
Yes, I am. Both him and Thomas have gotten their certificates for exorcism, and are sent out by the Catholic Church.
Right, but so you have admitting privileges here at the Archdiocese.
Yes.
Okay.
What does that mean?
No, because basically
Yeah.
there are priests who basically are part of the infrastructure of the organization in the city and will practice the rites and have a place in the church and can even get housing there. And then other priests who are basically tied to the Vatican and are itinerant and are guests, but do not perform the services and the sacraments in that location.
Okay, so I guess the answer is both him and Thomas are guests, but Thomas is currently in the Vatican.
Okay.
Right, because you're just searching for demons and
Yeah.
devils.
But you are here publicly. Like the church knows you're here
Yes.
and you're like you're living there and like serving
Yeah.
there. Okay, fair enough. Will,
Bonjour, my name is Bertrand Guillot, or as you can easily say, Bertrand or Bert. I don't know.
As we can
I'm
butcher
gonna
it.
go for
Bird.
Birdie.
I'm here to butcher French and also butcher French Creole. No, French Cajun. Yeah. So Bertrand is 26. He's from Lafayette, Louisiana. He enlisted in World War One into the French Foreign Legion, and he took part in. He was Army medical in the Battle of Verdun, which, if anybody knows things, I did some research. I didn't know this before,
I don't
but
know
like
things.
the Battle of Verdun is like one of the bloodiest, if not like the most deadly of the battles that took place during World War One. So I certainly saw some shit. And I went home now I'm a veteran, and I kind of want to distance myself away from all of those terrible memories and kind of get more into the world of art. And I've decided to travel to Cardiff with my wife, Colombe Guillot. Yeah, just kind of get into the bourgeois art scene that I don't know a whole heck of a lot of, but I'm gonna fake it till I make it. So, and also because I'm from Louisiana, and I'm Louisiana French from that time period, I am also Catholic. So,
very good. So, let me set the stage for what's going on. We, as I said, are in 1920s Cardiff. Like so many places of industry during this time, it is a combination of the very wealthy and the very poor. There are great manses of people of amazing wealth. It was a time of wonderful opportunity for those who were leaders of industry. At the same time, the poorest of the poor are here. There are just stench-ridden streets filled with fecal material and like homelessness. Disease was rampant. People who were orphans would be like put in these gigantic homes for orphan children, very often just cast aside or used as experimentation. There was no real understanding of mental illness and things like hysteria, which still have women sent to insane asylums for like losing their temper at their husbands and that sort of thing. At the same time, we are at a peak of a very interesting period of history when people are very interested in the occult. There are those out there who believe the occult sciences is the next great revolution in learning, that we will someday have science that will reach beyond the veil so we can talk to the dead and find out what is going on past death. At the same time, there are scientists who think that this is the worst thing ever and have made it their life's work to debunk these charlatans. And there is much conflict in the streets and in the tabloids about this. The people of wealth and industry are very excited about this, and many of them have bought in. It turns out that super wealthy people, not too scientific, and are really excited about this. And that brings us to our main event. You see, a number of years ago, the owner of the East Moors Steelworks, which is the largest steel production company here in Cardiff, passed away. His wife, the Dowager Countess, the Lady Philomena, has these occasional soirees at her mansion to show off her ongoing wealth. Her son-in-law, Robert Keane, is still the president of the Steelworks. It's pretty much, the Steelworks is generally known as Dowlais by the Sea because they're owned by this larger UK corporation that oversees all of the work there. And in a few days, she is about to hold one of her very well-known parties, and all the movers and shakers of Cardiff will be there. It is a big, big deal because in addition to being the party of the year, it is also going to be very exciting because she has brought in a large collection of artifacts and mysterious items from Egypt from a number of expeditions that she has funded. And it's been said that she will have actual mummies and gold cartouches and treasures that have come from Egypt that have been unseen in the West, and that you will be the first Westerners and white folk to lay eyes on these things. So it will be a great event. Anyone is going to be there. Most importantly, though, we need to find out how the two of you at this table who have no reason to be invited are going to be there. There are a number of ways that you can be involved. We'll start with Art. Being a street person who robbed for a living.
Being a cocky son of a bitch.
Yes.
I've got it into my head that this is this will be the largest gathering of potential marks.
Yes. There will be more
All
wealth.
that treasure.
Also, I've seen some I saw some interesting things. I was very interested in history growing up, in a wealthy family, but I really want to see these treasures that are coming across the sea.
Everything
for
you've
myself.
read in the papers tells you that the Egyptians only made things out of gold.
Yeah,
In fact-
I don't want to take it. That's too high profile, but there will be people there.
I mean, what else would you make stuff out of?
I believe it.
I don't understand.
Yes, basically,
Oh, I
according to
really
everything you've read in the papers leading up to this event, this is the hottest ticket in town. This is like Hamilton on crack. Basically,
Mhm.
because not only is this super, super rare, but every single item that will be on display is itself priceless.
Also won all those Tonys.
Basically, they had to murder tens of thousands of Egyptians to steal these artifacts from their country.
Perfect.
So how are you going to be involved? Will you just be sneaking in and casing a joint? Will you be
So-
part of the orchestra playing your violin? That's actually a sword in disguise.
No, then I have to be playing the whole time. I don't want to be doing that. No, my thought is that I'm going to sneak into my parents' house, my former home, steal some finery, and go as myself.
Did they never change the locks?
They don't need to.
It's 1920.
Yeah,
Changing
I
locks
opened
wasn't
a
really
window.
a big deal.
And besides-
don't have locks.
They live every day just hoping for their poor
Oh,
wayward
I
son to
suppose that's
come
true.
home
Yeah,
and
but-
come to his
yeah.
senses.
They've kept the door unlocked for him.
I mean, they don't know what happened to me after I disappeared.
for how many years?
10 years.
They've kept the door unlocked for 10 years.
Just hoping, like my favorite childhood toy.
They're rich enough to have security,
His mother is mad with
like
grief.
people.
Mad with grief.
Yeah, literally insane. Like she's there raving in the halls as I enter, and I just walk right by her.
She talks to you in the hallways and whatnot.
Oh yeah, happen after I leave.
All right, so you show up as an invited guest.
Oh, I guess I would need an invitation. Wouldn't
Yes, you have.
But
to
you could probably steal something off of
You're a
somebody.
pickpocket.
Yeah.
As someone's,
I
as
steal-
someone's
I steal
walking
one.
up, you just pick
Okay,
one out of
from
their
someone else.
pocket.
Yeah.
They arrive, they're like, "My
So I know
invitation's
how to blend in with the crowd.
You are lucky
And
that in
so I-
1920 infrared QR code scanning has not been
No,
perfected.
not yet. I'll go
So
as
close.
whoever's ticket I can steal.
2 years later, and
on
you'd
the
be
way
screwed.
in. Yeah. 2 years.
If only they can make that out of gold.
Start checking
Oh.
passports. 1923.
What makes you think they haven't?
Gold QR code.
Haven't you
that
watched
doable?
the Egyptian pyramids on the History Channel and their alien technology? What about you, Mr. Communist?
Yeah,
Hater of the government, enemy
Yeah.
of the state?
Well, so
Proletariat.
I have a
It's
fair
just
bit of
sounds
experience
like
as a mechanical technician. I've worked with machines a lot and that sort of thing, and I've been sort of down on my luck ever since I got out of the army at the end of the war. And I've been pounding the pavement and trying to wring whatever I could, whatever small jobs or whatever, out of my my associates, any business contact. But I'm sort of known as a rabble rouser at this point. But I finally, I nailed the interview and impressed them with being able to fix a thing, and they're the magnate of this big plant that builds threshing machines is wanting to bring me on, and has, as sort of an incentive for me to join up with them, has gotten me an invitation to this thing. And I'm not quite sure how I stumbled into it, and don't really know anybody, and I'm probably just gonna head to the bar, and we'll see what happens.
Wow,
Fair
we
enough.
scored you a ticket.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, that's
You-
power.
Charlie Bucket over here.
All right, that makes sense.
The market for good technicians is a little thin.
Azel,
Been unlucky.
Like Charlie Bucket.
you have no problem whatsoever. Because, as it turns out, the Dowager Countess is a true believer.
Oh,
It is
good.
primarily because of her patronage that you have moved up very handsomely in the past year.
Very good.
She is convinced of the reality of what is beyond. And you have already told her on numerous occasions how much her dearly beloved husband has been reaching out to her from beyond the veil. She is extraordinarily grateful to you. In fact, there are whispers in her family that you have too much of an influence upon her, and they are fearful that you are manipulating her to get your hands on her substantial fortune. So you are somewhat disliked by her daughter and her husband. However, the Lady Philomena believes that you are completely misunderstood and that you are a true treasure of the kingdom.
I feel like all of us are crazy already.
It's like-
Crazy. I'm just American.
Dead husband likes me, and that's what matters.
yes, yes.
Je suis American.
The Dowager Countess loves you and believes that your counsel is
Cannot
not to
speak
be questioned.
Foreign tongues.
His Holiness, no, I shouldn't. That only the Pope is called His Holiness. Not like the
His ghost fight.
His fatherland.
Father Lawrence. You
His
are
ghost-
clearly
ghost
receiving an
fighting.
invitation because you are an envoy of the Vatican. Your knowledge of history and the mythological things of the world, and your proximity to Egypt, because you're from Rome, and Rome is like right across the ocean from or the sea from Egypt. So
You can swim there.
yeah, you can pretty much swim there. So clearly, being so close to Egypt, right, like, you could probably see it from your house in the Vatican, right? So clearly, you.
That's how we got the position.
Yeah, so it's very obvious that someone with your scholarship and
wave at the Pharaoh
position
every
in the
day.
church would be invited to such a great thing. Your expertise would definitely be warranted. And there are rumors that Egyptian things are haunted, and perhaps like bad things might occur. There were some rumors that everyone who entered the tomb of Tutankhamun when his grave was found died horribly. And so just sort of as a insurance policy, having someone here at the Vatican from the Vatican would be useful. They were a little sad because your mentor isn't here, and they had read somewhere that when you really have bad things going, you need both a young priest and an old priest. And they were a little sad that we only have the young priest.
Oh yeah, Thomas isn't here.
Yeah, so they were kind of hoping that Thomas would be here, and they were a little worried that you might not be up to the task.
I can do both.
So,
You're the young
36.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm the young priest.
yeah, you're
Do
the
you
young
have like
priest.
a
Yeah.
choir boy you can invite with you or something?
So you,
Bad taste.
This is very much
Sorry,
before
folks.
suspicions of choir boys
Hey,
and their priest relationships were a thing.
Anyone around here want to be a priest tonight? Anyone under the age of 36?
No.
Well, just me then.
All right. Alexander Franklin, you are also very easily going to be invited to this thing because you are an expert in your field. And you have definitely made your inroads here. And they're like, you and your American methodologies. And your people may be morons, but you know your science. And we in the industry value that. Plus, you might have some inside information because who knows, maybe you can bring to Mother England some knowledge of how the Americans are like trying to undercut our business here and give us an advantage business-wise.
Plus, everyone knows Americans are barbarians, so maybe they know something about spiritualism intuitively.
No,
That's
you're too unintuitive to know anything about such things. Like, if it wasn't the fact that you were part of the elite,
I feel like
that,
of the two Americans, I would be the one that would know more of that than you.
He's got that American
Yes,
confidence.
but yes, exactly.
yeah,
So,
so you're here as part of like the delegation from your business, where very similar to his situation, where you're here as scientists and people are tied to the steelworks industry, and pretty much this is the industry of Cardiff. Like it's shipping and steel, and if you're anyone in the steel industry, you're considered important because as long as you're not like a worker and covered with suit all day and live in like the slums, you're fine. There's basically management and there's steerage, and management gets invited because you may someday be important enough that we don't want to offend you in case you become powerful and moneyed. So
How many people are at this thing?
there will probably be at least 150 people at its peak.
That's not that bad.
No.
It would be very interesting to know that based on your hatred of the aristocracy, if you were to lock the doors and burn the building to the ground during the party, you would in one fell swoop hand a great victory to the people.
Don't give them ideas.
But they would have no idea how to restructure everything, or
That's why he's here to show them communism.
Plus, this is a mansion. How many doors are there? Probably dozens.
There are dozens of doors, but the wealthy are not fast runners.
No.
They are fast running for them.
I mean, they got all that gold laying there.
This is also a period of history
They burn up real quick.
when women would faint on command. It's like, oh my gosh, the building is burning to the ground. Oh, where's the coach? And then they'd be shipped off to an asylum. So,
Their charred remains.
yeah.
It's just it's like it's brought to an asylum.
It's
Okay.
crazy.
I mean, is it water?
Oh, great.
And finally, Mr. Guillot, you
Some sort of water.
are not known here at all.
Mm-hmm.
However, you have heard of this event occurring.
Mhm.
Are you going to try to appear at the event, and in what capacity do you want to show up?
I want to show up. I mean, dressed to the nines, of course, and I want to show up trying to use my art appreciation maybe to get into the fact that it's a museum, it's a showcase of this rare tales. I guess maybe I can flex it that if you want to have a cross section of people, I'm the only French Cajun American who served in the war who could possibly be in this city right now.
You might get invited as
I
just
don't-
Diversity is not.
Oh,
a
never
reason
mind.
in 1920. However, there are a few things. Are you a decorated veteran? Are you famed in your place for your work in
I
the
mean,
French
you
Foreign
did
Legion?
survive.
Yeah,
I survived one of the bloodiest wars.
Mm.
I was an army medical, so yeah.
certainly rare.
And the French won
Yeah,
that battle, so you could
Okay.
say that I single-handedly helped win that war, that battle.
You
I
just
mean,
say
you
what?
single-handedly.
I see it.
He's
I mean,
missing it.
you could say that. I'm not going to say it. You could
As,
say that.
as a survivor, your version of the story is the one that gets printed in the
Yeah,
paper.
sure, absolutely.
So it's like,
You know, you
So-
save 100 lives, you get an achievement, you go to a party.
yeah, exactly. So, are you also showing up with your wife as connoisseurs of artistic great things? Are you presenting yourselves
Yeah, we have
as
to.
wealthy aristocrats from the New World?
We have to go there as a couple, absolutely.
Alright. Okay, so before the event itself, which will take place on a Friday evening, is there any preparations that anyone wants to make sure is done to set up themselves before we go right to the event?
I'm there beforehand, and
Yeah.
so I'm.
You're
going to-
already in the city, so
Yeah.
you're all here, but
Looking at you, Art, most likely.
I'm not gonna be.
What are you
Doing
doing to
anything.
set up, though?
I'm gonna be stealing some fine clothes.
okay, so that's established.
My
That's pretty easy.
pants. Yeah.
The thing I'm mostly curious about is is anyone preparing things that might matter when you're there? Like, for example, whether or not you need to find a choir boy or plant
I'm
plant a bomb,
Making sure all the
or-
wildfires.
Yeah, exactly.
To ease their fears, could I find a young priest?
But you're the young
you're the young
priest.
priest.
You
You're
know
the
an
young
old
priest.
one.
You could probably
Get out of
you
here,
know what?
you.
Make a luck roll.
A luck roll. You got it.
We all were just.
I failed.
Unfortunately, there are no priests younger than you here in Cardiff at the time. You are it.
Oh.
It's not my time to shine as the old priest,
Yeah.
so I'll be the lone priest.
The best you can do is a boy soprano from the choir who you could bring along if you'd like. But
So you bring him,
No,
say
I
that
don't.
he is 20, and then say that you yourself is 50.
I don't want to babysit.
Wear a
so
fake beard.
I'm gonna pack my bag, my holy water, my steak, my salt,
my rope, and my Bible.
Your garlic.
Oh, so you bring
I'm
your,
ready.
your whole case of
Bring my
like-
bag.
oh, interesting. By the way, the boy from Toronto just turned 11. He could not pull off being 20.
No, I don't want to babysit.
Okay.
I mean, he's a soprano.
I mean, he might be able to carry my bag, but like, what if he drops it? I just
He may-
can't take that risk.
No, these are boys in the Catholic Church.
That's
they
true.
never drop anything.
That's
They know
true.
the consequences of dropping things when you're helping the priest.
Okay.
Spank it.
And
It's gonna be a beating.
well,
Oh my god.
then the only thing I'll do to prepare, since I'll be by myself, is I'll do the the smoke thing.
Oh, you guys use the sensor where? Like around the building?
Building, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm gonna
Oh, really?
I'm gonna make this place ready.
You gonna smoke it up?
are you requesting permission?
Yeah, sure. I'll ask
Just
for
wander
permission.
over.
All right.